All right, back to that topic of not drinking or sobriety or quitting alcohol, whatever you want to call it. There are a few more points I wanted to cover that I missed on my first video, starting with how I used to talk to myself about alcohol when I was drinking versus how I talk to myself now that I'm not drinking. When I was drinking, what I said to myself and what I told others, my doctors, my friends, I said, look, I don't want to quit drinking entirely. I enjoy alcohol. It's soothing. It makes me feel good. It's like it almost feels like it's like my only little relief that I get once a day to enjoy myself and add meaning to my life. I don't want to give up one of the things that I enjoy the most. So what I'd like to do is just learn to moderate. I just want to drink less, I want to drink an appropriate amount and not overdo it. Of course, I could never really manage that. Try as I may, all the rules I created, I had rules like, okay, I'm allowed 2 shots per day or 2 beers a day. And if I go to the liquor store and I buy liquor and I come home, then that's it. I'm not going back to the liquor store. I'm not allowed to. All those things failed. All those rules, they didn't work. Those limitations I tried to place on myself. I ended up drinking a lot more than that, and I ended up going back to the liquor store sometimes 3 times a day. Man, that was really weird to see myself walking back to the liquor store 3 times a day. But it is what it is, I could never really get that moderation I was seeking, that balance I was seeking. So that's how I used to talk to myself about alcohol is, I don't want to quit entirely. I just want to drink an appropriate, moderate amount. Now, the way I talk to myself about alcohol is very different. Now, the way I talk to myself about it is this. This is the script that I developed doing my little program. And it sounds like this. I don't want to do that to myself anymore. It's just too painful. The headaches, the loss of memory, worrying about what it was that I said or did the night before that I don't remember, people hating me, not even knowing who to apologize to, for what, or if I should. The lack of clear judgment, worrying about my business failing because I'm wasting all my time, worrying about my whole life falling apart, or just seeing myself walking back and forth to the liquor store and not having a grip on it, no self-control. I just don't want to be on that. It's just such a terrible place to be. It was just so full of all kinds of pain. I just don't want to do that to myself anymore. So that's how I talk to myself about it now. And those are very different ways of talking about it. Another point that I wanted to make is just like what an amazing relief it was when I made the decision to just not drink anymore. And that was more than once, I quit for like 6 months, and then I started drinking for another 6 months, and then I quit again. And every time I've quit, I've always had this just incredible relief. It's always just been, just as soon as I made the decision, it was just like everything just relaxed. I was like, fuck, finally. I don't have to worry about this anymore. I don't have to deal with this anymore. All the pain points, man, that it causes, I don't have to experience that anymore. It's such a relief to know that I'm not going to be struggling with my lack of self-control or this internal conflict going back and forth. there's another point that I want to talk about, and I've never heard anybody talk about this before. It's something that I just realized on my own in those quiet moments of contemplation when I was considering giving up the habit, and just how sad I was and how upset I was. And I was asking myself why I was drinking. When I really asked myself why I was drinking, what need of mine is really unmet? It was kind of wild, and I was kind of surprised to realize that the need was meaning. And that drinking was a form of slow suicide. I was actually trying to kill myself subconsciously. I didn't realize it consciously, but when I stopped and looked inside and I did that inner reflection, I was asking myself, well, what's missing in my life? And I just was like, dude, it's joy. It's just a reason to live. I'm so fucking sick and tired of the disappointment and the challenge and the struggle and the uncertainty and the fear. So you've probably heard this before, that to live is to suffer, and to survive is to find the meaning in the suffering. So in other words, if you're alive, you're gonna experience pain and suffering, okay? Some of your needs are gonna go unmet. At any given time, there will be needs that are unmet. And those will be pain points. And it'll suck, and it's your job to notice those unmet needs and take responsibility for them and do something to fulfill them. And that's hard. It's not always easy to do. You gotta get clear on what the needs are, and then you gotta find a way to meet them. So as long as you're alive, you're gonna be up against that challenge of basically taking care of yourself. And there are no days off. To find the meaning in the suffering, to survive is to find the meaning in the suffering. What does that mean? Well, it means that you've got to find what makes life worth living for. So if you don't find your meaning in life, what makes life worth living, then you don't have any real good reason to be here, because it's just pain with no reward, no payoff. There's no meaning of it. So it's up to you to find, just to decide what makes life worth living. Like if you're depressed, if you haven't found your meaning, what makes life worth living, and life is just mostly pain with just not enough return on investment, then it's no surprise if you are some sort of suicidal. It's no surprise that you're just like, I just don't want to do this. It's not worth it. And we're not really allowed to talk about that and say that out loud. So, when I really checked in with myself and I asked, why am I drinking? What am I running from? It was just this lack of meaning in life, just the ongoing struggle and pain that just doesn't seem worth it. It just doesn't seem worth it. Like, why the fuck am I here? It's just not worth it. And to be perfectly honest with you guys, I still feel that way. I'm still searching for meaning. I think we all are. We're all trying to make life worth it. And I'm sure some people are like nailing it, like they found their purpose and their life is full of meaning and they know what they're waking up in the morning to do. And I have periods of time when I'm in that state, when I know something that I really want to do, something I'm really excited about, and I'm like, that's my purpose right now. I fall asleep thinking about it. I jump out of the bed in the morning and I want to work on it. It keeps me up all night, taking notes, making plans. That's when I know I'm on purpose. But if you're low energy, not excited about anything, just bummed out about everything, and it just feels like there's no reason, then your life probably lacks meaning, and you're just not sure really what your purpose is right now. And drinking is a way of just turning off and numbing all that. And if it's ongoing, it becomes this subconscious form of slow suicide. It's a way of killing yourself slowly without doing it so directly. You kind of stop caring about yourself. And you kind of hope on some level that some organ will fail or something terrible will happen, and then you'll be put out of your misery once and for all. If you're in that state and you actually don't really truly want to be alive, if you're not excited about life, and then someone comes to you and says, hey, did you know that alcohol destroys your brain and you're killing this many brain cells? Did you know that if you drink this many ounces of liquor, that it will destroy your liver and you'll end up with liver cirrhosis and you'll die a painful death? Did you know that your kidneys will fail? When you say things like that to someone who's suicidal, that only makes them reach for the bottle even more. It only encourages them. They're like, oh really? So what you're saying is this is my way out? And it's a way that makes me feel good and numbs the pain. Seems like a kind of reasonable thing to do then. So what I mean to say is that you got to check in with yourself, and you got to ask yourself, like, do I want to be alive? Do I have meaning in my life? Do I have a reason to be here? That's something that we should be focused on. That's something that's really important. And that's probably a big part of why people drink. I think there's probably a large percentage of drinkers out there who are just lacking meaning in their life, lacking purpose. Life is painful, and they're not getting enough return on the investment. So it doesn't seem worth it, and they want to check out. And that's totally understandable. So the question is, what is going to be my meaning? What is going to be my purpose while I'm still here? So when I finally decided to quit, or the first time I decided to quit, I quit for like 6 months. I remember right at the moment of decision, on that day of decision, I had that revelation. I was like, this is suicide. And in reality, so I'm at a crossroads here. I have to decide, am I going to go through with it and end my life, or am I not? Am I going to continue living? If I'm going to continue living, then what the hell am I doing committing suicide? I'm either going to do it or I'm not, right? So that kind of helped me make this decision to be like, okay, then I'm not going to do this slow form of suicide anymore. And as long as I'm going to continue being alive for a while, I might as well make the most of it and not be in pain all the time, not cause more pain for myself. I might as well just find something that I'm excited about and just grip and rip and do it. Find something that gives my life purpose and go for it while I'm still here. Whether that's for weeks, months, years, whatever. As long as I'm still here, I might as well make the most of it. I think having meaning in your life is very important. I think it is a primary, fundamental piece of this whole equation of why we drink, why we stop drinking. Now, here I am going on 13 months sober. And I can tell you at the beginning of that, I was stoked. I was just like, yep, now I see clearly, I don't want this anymore. And I know what my meaning is, I know what my purpose is, I'm gonna go for it. I'm really lucky. I was really lucky because I had projects going that I felt really good about and they were succeeding. And so I knew that all I needed to do was just keep doing it. And that made it pretty easy. I'm in a different state now. I'm not interested so much in those things at this time. I'm kind of looking for a new dream to chase, a new passion. Something that'll really get me out of bed in the morning. But I'm still not drinking. So I'm not suicidal. I'm not trying to make my life miserable. I'm not trying to persuade myself off the edge of that cliff. I'm not trying to paint myself into a corner with nothing but a pistol. I'm just asking myself, well, what's the new mission? What's the new game? What's the new meaning, the new purpose, the thing to chase after and to go for and to build and create? It's okay that I don't know right now. Something will come to mind, something will clarify. But I think it's really important to know about that subconscious suicide aspect of it and to check in with yourself and ask yourself, how do you feel about life? Do you even really want to be here? If not, what is going to give your life meaning? What is something you can chase after and dream about and pursue? What is going to be your purpose? What do you have to live for? It's going to be different for everyone. Well, here's another point that I want to hit on. You might ask yourself, like, what about influences? If I'm going to stop drinking, should I immediately cut ties with all of my friends, the whole social circle that drinks? Is that gonna cause me to relapse? There can be some serious anxiety around that concern. Initially, I was very insecure about that. And so my initial thinking was, I'll just cut out everyone in my life that drinks. I'll just sort of stop talking to them. There goes my whole social circle. What about watching movies where they're getting drunk and stuff? Is that gonna cause me to relapse? Man, I had a lot of insecurity around these topics initially when I first made the decision to quit because I didn't know what it was gonna be like. And I think a big part of that is just all the BS that people feed us about quitting alcohol. Oh, it's so hard, it's so hard, it's so hard. So you get it in your head that it's gonna be this incredibly challenging thing to quit, and then that just discourages you and makes you not even want to attempt it. And it makes you feel really insecure, like, oh man, I'm just gonna relapse as soon as I see a scene on a movie or an old friend calls me on the phone. No. It just turned out that for me, it wasn't like that at all. I thought it was going to be. But for me, I can see party scenes in movies. I can be on the phone with an old friend who is wasted at that moment, talking to him about alcohol. And no, that's not gonna change my decision, my convictions, the way that I talk to myself about alcohol at all. I see other people making their choices, but I make my choices for my reasons. So if you've made that decision, then you're not that vulnerable. At least I'm not that vulnerable. Because I'm clear on why I don't want to drink anymore. That's why. Now, another thing I found really interesting, I was asking myself, do I need to cut out all the drinkers from my life because maybe they're a bad influence? And I'm not saying you shouldn't. Like maybe you choose that's going to be helpful for you, go ahead. But what I found is it was completely unnecessary because all the people who do drink, when they found out that I had quit, they cut me off. They stopped talking to me. All those drinkers, they just disappeared. And as soon as you tell someone, oh yeah, I quit drinking, boom, that's the last conversation you're gonna have with that person for a while, I guarantee you. I think there's two reasons. Number one, they're thinking they don't wanna be a bad influence on you. They don't wanna like cause you to stumble and like relapse or something. And I appreciate that. I'm not worried about it at all, but I can appreciate where they're coming from. And then number two is, man, if Vince quit drinking, how does that reflect for me? How do I feel about myself? Because I still drink. And I don't know where they're at in their journey, whether they want to stop drinking or they don't want to stop drinking. But just, they do drink, they choose to drink, and here's me choosing not to drink. I think that maybe on some level, they don't like it. They don't like the way it makes them feel about themselves, their choice, their choices, their relationship with alcohol. And then there's this third social aspect that I wasn't even gonna mention, but I gotta tell you, a lot of people have messaged me, contacted me and said, bro, you're inspiring me a lot. Like, I've been wanting to stop for a long time, and just seeing you being open about it and sharing your thoughts has been very helpful. So there's that too. That's really cool. But no, I don't think you need to cut everybody out of your life. I think they're gonna cut you out of their life. And if you have done the work, if you've did the process, and again, I figured out it's actually more like a 4-step process, maybe 5. Number 1, journal. Okay, so just start talking to yourself about what you're thinking, what you're feeling, why you're considering quitting, why you want to quit, why you want to drink, just everything you're thinking, everything you're feeling, everything you're experiencing, just journal it. Number 2 is to make your lists, these 2 lists, this list on the left of why you do drink, why you want to drink, what it does for you, how it helps you cope, how good it makes you feel. And then on the other side, another list about why you don't want to drink, all the reasons why that you hate about it, all the pain points why you don't want to drink. So that's step 2, making your lists, contrasting your reasons for drinking, your reasons for quitting. Step 3 would be going back and forth, going on a bender for 3 or 6 months or whatever, and then quitting for 3 or 6 months, and then going back to drinking for a few months, and then quitting for a few months. People call that relapsing, like they failed, but I think it's just a part of the process. I think their brain is just still trying to learn why they want to stop drinking. Now, step 4. I would say step 4 is what it all kind of boils down to, is the script that you write for yourself. How you are going to talk to yourself about alcohol from now on. And it's gotta be your script. It's gotta be what feels right for you. Like I said, my script sounds like, I don't wanna do that to myself anymore. I don't wanna wake up with a headache, with anxiety, worrying about what I said or did the night before that I don't remember, and who I need to apologize to, and people just losing respect for me, and losing all my success. I just don't want to worry about the internal conflict of not wanting to drink but seeing myself drink anyways, and the lack of self-control. I don't want to be on that slippery slope. I just don't want any of it anymore. I don't want to do that to myself anymore. So that's how I talk to myself about it. You can find your own words that feel right for you, but that's step 4. You've got to get that script. It's really what it comes down to. Once you're firm on that script, you've got it in the bag. And 5th, if there is a 5th step, a 5th piece to this puzzle, it's connecting with other people and talking about it. Talking with other people who have quit drinking or considering quitting drinking, and just being open and honest about the experience, what it's like, why you want to stop drinking, why you keep drinking, and what that's like for you. just talking to other people about it. Especially when you are just first making the decision for the first time. If you feel any kind of insecurity about it, like, oh man, how vulnerable am I gonna be? How easy is it gonna be to slip up? What's this gonna be like? Yeah, if you feel insecure about it at all, talking to other people about it helps a lot. At least it helped me a lot. That's what I found. But I pretty quickly learned, like within a matter of days or weeks, that I don't really need that. I don't usually need other people providing me with external reinforcement or accountability. This is totally self-motivated. I have my own reasons for not wanting to drink anymore. But it can be very helpful to talk about it. And finally, I just want to share some ways that I found that I could replace the rituals. For example, that walk to the liquor store. I mean, if you're doing that on a daily basis, you're gonna have to find something else to do with your time. The experience of walking to the fridge and cracking open a cold beer, and the next one, and the next one, and just sipping from cans. The experiencing of cracking the cap off of a little bottle and taking sips of something that hits really hard. You're gonna need to find something to take, you're gonna need to do something else, right? And I've found that there's a real comfort, or it's just helpful for me to replace those things with something similar. It just makes the transition so much smoother. So I still go for walks. I go to the beach and go for a walk on the beach instead of a walk to the liquor store. I could go for a walk around the neighborhood. I do that sometimes. I just take a different route. As far as cracking open can after can and sipping on something foamy, sparkling water I'm finding is actually doing the trick. It's so funny because a can, like an 8-pack or a 12-pack of sparkling water costs like $4, $6. And it's just the convenience, man, of just reaching for something really quick, cracking it open and sipping on something cold. It's just convenient and pleasant. And this is very helpful. If you're giving up drinking beer, you're gonna wanna keep cans of something fizzy. I really like hop water. I discovered hop water, and it tastes like IPA. It tastes like beer, like mild beer. And the more I drink it, the more I like it. That first sip might seem a little disappointing because it's not quite like beer, but actually the more I drink it, the more I like it. I like this brand called Hops 2O. And so I'm just always on the lookout for some hop water. The next time I see a good deal on some hop water, I'll just go buy like 6 or 10 cases of that stuff because I really like it. And then there's kombucha. Kombucha is something that is in a small bottle. You take the cap off and you just take little swigs of it, and it hits pretty hard, you know. It's pretty bitter, pretty pungent, and it reminds me a lot of cracking open a bottle of vodka and just taking swigs off of it. So yeah, I like my kombucha. I like to take swigs off of that throughout the day. So yeah, consider your rituals, you know, whether it's a walk to the liquor store or a drive to the liquor store, whether it's drinking with friends or cracking open can after can or sipping off a bottle, whatever it is that you are in the habit of doing, just be on the lookout for some replacements for those things and start to put those into action. Man, you know what? What am I thinking? I have got to talk about cannabis. Cannabis has been probably my #1 coping mechanism and source of relief and soothing, okay? And I don't particularly like to smoke it. I do, I will, but I don't like that it hurts my lungs. And my lungs just can't really tolerate it anymore. So I like to eat. I get edibles and I'll eat cannabis, and I can really control the dosage that way. I can have very small doses if I want to. I can have really big doses if I want to. But man, it's like getting a nice hug. It's just like, it's almost like someone's putting their arms around me and hugging me. You know, it gives you all those chemicals that just feel good and just soothe you. And I just find it so helpful as a replacement. So I'm definitely leaning into the cannabis as I completely avoid the alcohol. And that's been a wonderful improvement in my life. No headaches, no lack of judgment, no insensitivity, no numbness, no regret of saying things and doing things that I feel bad about later. Yeah, I really like the cannabis edibles. They've been very helpful. Just help soothe my freaking nerves, man. So I think that's about all I've got for you guys today. Those are just some extra topics that I wanted to cover that I forgot to cover on the last video. And again, these are just my thoughts. This is just my input. This is just what works for me. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a certified recovery counselor or whatever. Making those decisions on my own and being able to help myself makes it that much more sustainable. I feel that much more certain about my choices. It's not like it's coming from outside of me, it's coming from inside.